You're listening to the National Marijuana News.
I'm Todd Dankin with the National Marijuana News, and I am sitting here with DJ Parmar. He is the founder of Kush Enterprises, and he is heading up the documentary Djcannabusiness. DJ, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me, Todd.
Oh, my pleasure. So, DJ, tell me, what is Kush Enterprises, and what convinced you that getting into the cannabis industry was the way to go?
Well, Kush Enterprises is a media and technology company that is catering to ancillary services in the cannabis industry. So what we focus on is film, TV, events, and technology for cannabis users. It's a company right now that we've started focusing a number of high-profile projects, and the reason was because we noticed with the emerging cannabis industry, there was a lot of verticals that were being developed and turned into viable businesses, but we felt that currently in this industry there was a lack of prominent, high-profile media companies targeting entertainment. And then also there's still a number of technology companies, but we really felt that there were some niches that could use some further companies to develop and target certain aspects of technology. So we focused specifically on media and technology in this space.
Right. So you said that you are focusing on the cannabis user for your content. So do you not want non-users to watch your content?
We're focused on cannabis-centric media that we feel appeals to cannabis users, yet also appeals to a wide audience. So we are targeting media that addresses this user base, but it definitely is something that's receptive to mainstream audiences.
Nice. Great. Now, Djcannabusiness is a documentary that highlights the multi-billion-dollar legal cannabis industry and what it means to be an investor and an entrepreneur in this particular industry. So talk about the conversations you were having that ultimately led you to come up with the idea for the film.
Djcannabusiness is a documentary that we kind of focused developing to be able to educate and inform the mainstream audience what the legal cannabis industry is all about. We kind of really came up with the idea of the documentary because we felt that mainstream audiences truly didn't really understand what the legal cannabis industry consisted of. So through my partner Justin Beck and his experience founding a few cannabis companies such as Marijuana Index, we felt that the mainstream audience really needed to understand various aspects of how a legal cannabis industry could economically impact our society to be able to generate various high-profile, multi-million-dollar businesses that could generate revenue and tax income for various states across the U.S. So ultimately, we felt that, when asking your average citizen what they felt about the legal cannabis industry, most didn't understand the potential and the revenue and the business verticals that were involved in this industry. So your general person would just think that you're growing weed out of your basement and selling it out of the back of your car, when really, actually, there's so many various high-profile businesses and opportunities that are legitimate, that could create companies that have huge enterprise value, long-term growth, and have potential to hit the public markets in a very strategic entry point. So it's a really interesting topic that we felt with so many documentaries covering the cannabis space, there wasn't really a documentary that truly covered what it means to be a legitimate business owner or investor in the legal cannabis industry.
Right. Now, you cover a lot of topics in the documentary. So what did you find was the biggest hurdle in the battle for marijuana legalization?
I think that, there's a number of challenges for legalization of cannabis in the U.S., and I think really it's getting the mainstream audience to understand the economic potential for this industry. I think that the average citizen has a certain stigma around cannabis because of all the propaganda that has been pushed against it, with it being a classified drug. I think ultimately, once we start to understand all the medical benefits, I think that's a huge perspective change. And then secondarily, I think that once you start to explain how this industry as a legitimate industry can be controlled with regulations to generate legitimate businesses that can drive billions of dollars to increase so much potential for your average citizen in terms of business opportunities, investment opportunities, and tax income for the states to generate so many more society developing opportunities, that really that is what's going to drive legalization. And I think that's kind of the hurdle that we're overcoming now.
Right, you're right. Colorado says that this year they're going to have $100 million in tax revenue. That's no joke, right?
Exactly. I think it's fascinating. That's really only the starting point for states across the U.S. So, my comparison that we heard while interviewing one of our subjects was to really kind of truly explain to your average citizen what's happening in this industry is imagine the alcohol industry when Prohibition ended and all the multi-billion-dollar companies and business verticals and the industry that's built around the legal alcohol industry. That's happening now in the marijuana industry. And ultimately, there's so much potential for legitimate businesses, legitimate investments to have massive growth rates for legitimate opportunities. And now's the time to dive deep in. And I think ultimately what we're trying to do with this documentary is to truly educate and inform audiences on the business verticals, the investment opportunities, and the potential for the legal cannabis industry in a legitimate form and fashion.
Right. Now you were able to get lots of interviews with high-profile names in the marijuana industry and outside the marijuana industry as well. So what specific discussions that you had with some of these folks that stand out for you?
I think what has been really fascinating about our interviews so far with many of the high-profile business owners, entrepreneurs, investors that we had so far is the just sheer massive potential of business opportunities in this space. If you just look at, the variety of industries in this space, you can cross not only the production and distribution of cannabis, but you're talking about edibles, drinks, media, technology, financing, etc. We're only cracking open the potential for business opportunities in this space. And you're going to start seeing a number of extremely unique and high-profile business opportunities and products in this space that are be coming out in the next few years. I think what's also fascinating, too, is that a lot of growth is happening in this sector, so there's still a lot of catch-up. One of the notes that we heard from one of the investors we interviewed was there is literally tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars of financing available for this space, but there just aren't enough investable companies. So it's really coming down to educating entrepreneurs in terms of this space to be able to enter it with an appropriate business model that has a revenue model, a long-term sustainability, and ultimately being able to come up with verticals that are structured in a way that cater to private equity investors. And I think that as we develop in the next few years, there's going to be a number of these high-profile opportunities and entrepreneurs taking advantage of them in the right way.
Right. Well, the marijuana entrepreneur is a little different these days, in my opinion, because this is an industry that already exists. It already has a consumer base. The problem is the people running the industry, they're all outlaws and criminals. So how is that going to change with this new wave of legal cannabis?
I think what's interesting now is that as our industry, the legal cannabis industry, matures, you're going to start seeing a lot of legitimate entrepreneurs and high-profile investors from other industries start analyzing this industry and entering it and starting new business verticals. And that's really what's going to legitimatize this industry. I think you're going to have a lot of major players and heavyweights from other industries that are really going to start tackling this market and entering it with their existing businesses or creating new subsidiaries for this market. And I think that's what's really going to take this industry to the next level.
Right. And do you see the criminal element that has been growing the marijuana over the last several years? Do you see them more of integrating into the new marijuana entrepreneur, or will the new marijuana entrepreneur really replace the criminal?
I feel in my eyes that this industry is going to start becoming very regulated. I think it's going to be a legitimate industry that's going to have a lot of oversight. And I think that if you want to play in this industry, you got to do it legally, you got to do it correctly, and you got to do it according to all the certifications and regulations that are going to be put in place. And I think ultimately it's going to take a legitimate entrepreneur to be able to be successful in this industry and do it right. So I really feel that there's going to be a shift towards the legitimate entrepreneur in this industry being able to maximize on all of the activity that has been illegally done in a legitimate form.
Right. Now you're going out and you're looking for some investors to fund the documentary and help you get it released. So tell us how that's been going and what exactly you're looking for from potential investors.
Yeah, definitely. We're producing our documentary, Djcannabusiness, and it's a feature-length theatrical documentary. So we've started a Kickstarter campaign and have been reaching out to various investors that would be interested in supporting this cause. And it's been great so far. We've had a ton of great feedback, and there's a lot of people that extremely appreciate what we're doing with the messaging of the documentary to educate and inform investors and entrepreneurs and the general audience. So it's all around been amazing feedback and support, and we're still looking for additional funding and support from investors and general audience members. And we've been driving a lot of people to our website, which is djcannabusiness.com with a Z or Z, as you would say. And ultimately are definitely very excited about getting this documentary into theaters, and we feel that with all the support we are getting so far and building from here on, we can make that a reality.
Great. And what are some of the giveaways that you're offering on the Kickstarter campaign?
We definitely have a lot of great, interesting giveaways. We're talking about being able to get various levels from something as low as a DVD to autographed copies of various merchandise to posters to credits on the film, associate producer and exec producer, invites to a red carpet premiere. So we have a variety of packages catering to various levels of the funder that would be able to donate, whether it's a small amount or a large amount. So any amount's appreciated, and we feel that we want to reward anyone that comes to the table with any dollar amount.
Awesome. Now, you've got some other projects going on at Cush Enterprises, like Cush Music, the Hotbox reality show, and like we spoke about just a little while ago, DoobieX multi-platform web and social application. So talk a little about those and what you're doing with them.
Definitely, yeah. Cush Enterprises is a media and technology company with various divisions. We spoke a little bit about Djcannabusiness, which is the documentary and film division. We also have a reality TV division, so we have two projects that we have kickstarted and are in packaging phase right now. The first is called The Hotbox, which is the Shark's Tank of cannabis investing, which is a reality TV show. The second is The Pot Chef, which is a cooking edibles show for the cannabis industry. Ultimately, we're looking at developing reality TV that caters to the audiences that have been fans of major hit shows in the past and developing it for this industry. We also have an events division, and what we're doing with our first event is we're launching Southern California's biggest cannabis music festival. So we're currently in discussions with a venue and a ton of A-list artists to perform at this event. And there'll be a free speech component as well, too, offering celebrity speakers speaking on cannabis reform. And then we have the technology division of our company as well. We're developing the first multi-platform technology catered to cannabis users of all types of users, offering a number of different applications, resources, and services all underneath one application called DoobieX.
Great. So I'm Todd Denkin with the National Marijuana News, and we are sitting here with DJ Parmar, who's the founder of Cush Enterprises. So if you are currently actively involved in the cannabis business, or you're an aspiring entrepreneur or an investor, or you're an activist, or you're just a medical user or a recreational user, look, this is your opportunity to help promote a major documentary that can assist in changing the image of the industry. So make sure you check out the Kickstarter campaign. You can find it at cannabusiness.com. That's CANNABIZNESS.com. And look for DJ's movie, Djcannabusiness. And DJ, best of luck to you. And when you're about ready to release, make sure you come back on the show and talk to us, all right?
Thanks so much, Todd.
You have been listening to the National Marijuana News.